economist, adjunct professor, is joining us now with a really interesting take on this hedge fund outflow. And it seems to be the passive side that's mainly getting out.
You know, I would think so. I mean, first of all, you know, the laws of gravity have not been repealed, even in the case of hedge funds. If you look at the Carlyle Group, you know, the fund that they're looking at exiting had gated and stopped. You know, Claren Road had gated and effectively stopped redemptions, and then they get a sell recommendation from Cliffwater. That's pretty much the kiss of death in this industry, and to see it unwinding is not a massive surprise. But in the I think overall what you've seen is an interesting statistic which Bloomberg ran a while ago. About 54% of investors in hedge funds were planning to redeem, but all but a small single digit were planning to reinvest. And the question is, of that single digit that is actually leaving the sector, where are they going? You know, certainly bonds are not incredibly attractive, and equities at this point have got to be giving some people pause. But the question is, what is driving these investors? And I think one of the largest factors has got to be the change in the role of what a hedge fund investor does and who a hedge fund investor is, and also, quite importantly, what the hedge fund investors, to be successful, must do. The role of the manager, which used to be just set it and forget it, buy the legends and forget about it from there, has absolutely changed. Now the hedge fund managers must have an active management view. What strategies are going to be doing better looking forwards? What strategies, you know, are going to be actually outperforming? And when we look at the kinds of things that they're going to need, you have to have a view on Fed funds. You know, we look at Scott Mather today. You know, he talked about volatility and inflation. Well, do you have a view on that? If you take his view that inflation will overshoot, do you have the appropriate mortgage-backed funds that can protect in a rising rate environment, particularly, as Alex pointed out, with the curve as as shallow as it is? And you don't have to get in there and have a view on what Mylan's earnings are going to be like. Right. But if you are a hedge fund manager, again, just looking at the things that you and Alex discussed this morning. Yeah. Rate expectations 5 years out, inflation expectations 5 years out. If you're a hedge fund of funds manager, if you're a manager investing in hedge funds, you got to have a view.
And do you think that the money coming out of hedge funds is being distinct as to which hedge fund manager they're with? Are people being discerning as to which is outperforming or underperforming, or is this a generic pull out of the system?
Yep. Well, sadly, what I think we've been seeing, and obviously you get punished for poor performance, but a lot of it, almost an excessive amount of it, seems to be on recent performance. Thus, you can see withdrawals from managers with an excellent long-term track record that might be well positioned for example, rising rates in the future, that then find themselves seeing tremendous redemptions because those rising rates haven't happened. I think I read somewhere that past performance is no guarantee of future results. And it's different than when
chestnut.
You see it's a catchy buzz phrase that's really catching on Wall Street, but seemingly not to some of the hedge fund investors that are to some degree just dumping the lower previous performers, even if they've been people brave enough to tilt against some of the current powerful but unsustainable trends.